Hey, it's Todd Newton. Welcome to the Tattooed Traveler. Welcome to mile marker 0, my friend. This is fabulous Key West, home of the sunset. Located 164 miles south of Miami, Florida, is a place where you can come and recharge your batteries, relax your mind, and just let it all hang out. This is Key West. Yeah, what he said. You can't get any further south than this, so I thought the Southernmost Point would be the ideal place to begin our video. This buoy, which was erected back in 1983, right at South and Whitehead streets, is pretty much the photo op here in Key West. You'll see it on t-shirts, koozies, magnets, shot glasses. Truth is, you can't escape it. And it marks the southernmost point in the continental United States. And everyone wants their photo by it, so prepare to stand in line and wait your turn. The body of water behind it, of course, is the Atlantic Ocean, and 90 miles away is Cuba. So it's literally an island, one of the Florida Keys, derived from the Spanish word cayo, which means small island. And it's known for its sunshine, beaches, water sports, lively nightlife, historic sites, and the conch-style architecture. But business at hand, what's up with all the roosters? They are everywhere, and they're not shy. Well, they came from Cuba. You see, during the 10-year war in Cuba, many folks made that 90-mile journey across the water to get to Key West, and they brought the chickens with them. Not only as a source for food, but also because cockfighting was big business back then. Thankfully, the back alley sport, if you can call it that, was outlawed in the 70s, and all of those chickens were just released. Well, they continued to breed, and now they roam the island freely, protected by a city ordinance. More history? Yeah, good, because there's plenty of it here on Key West. Let's head over to the Lighthouse on Whitehead Street. This was erected in the mid to late 1840s because at the time there was an average of 1 shipwreck per week, and you could tour it. Costs you about $17 for adults, and the climb to the top is 88 steps. What do you think? Can we do it?
It is hot out here today. It'll be worth it. I'll just keep telling myself it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it.
And it would have been if we could have actually climbed to the top. But unfortunately, the lighthouse was closed for tours due to maintenance. It was being painted, which was slightly disappointing because I was really looking forward to that view from up there. But I understand. Regular maintenance is necessary to keep these old landmarks in tip-top touring condition. And as you saw in that sign, the first keeper of the lighthouse was a woman, which was unheard of in the 19th century, Barbara Maberty. This is where she lived. The lighthouse was decommissioned by the U.S. Coast Guard in 1969. We still have so much to cover. Duval Street, the Hemingway House, Captain Tony's, but I want to put a little fuel in your tank, get you some breakfast, bring you down to Bahama Village, which is a part of the island that was built in the 1800s when hundreds of free blacks came to Key West from the Bahamas. It happens to be home to the greatest breakfast spot on the island. Ask anyone, Blue Heaven. There's one of the owners, Susan, going in right now. Susan is an artist. Her partner, Richard, is a writer, and they opened the place in 1992. But this building has some deep, deep roots here in Key West. And it gets crowded, fills up fast. They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner on a first-come, first-served basis. It's located just a couple of blocks off of Duval Street. Hey, kitty. So the earlier you can get here, the better. Look at those eggs, man. It's Benedict time at Blue Heaven. So as I was saying, about 100 years ago, this is where you would find the cockfights, gambling, Friday night boxing matches that Hemingway loved so much. And upstairs here, this was a bordello. Now, if you didn't have enough money in your pocket to spend some time with one of the working girls, well, you could shell out a few coins and just peep through the peepholes here. Maybe not as exciting, but certainly a bargain. Let's see if we can go inside. I want to show you these bathrooms if we could. This would have been a lounge, maybe a dancing area. They probably had a jazz band in here where you could meet up with the girl of your choice. But take a look at this decor. And then over here you can see one of the old faucets from the shower. A lot of history right here. As good as the Eggs Benedict are, especially the ones with lobster, I recommend the pancakes. Richard's Very Good pancakes. You can get them with banana or pineapple or both, maybe blueberries, pecans. You get 2 on the plate, and I tell you what, this is the way to start the day in Key West. Richard's Very Good pancakes, and you can only get them at Blue Heaven. And please feel free to indulge while you're here in Key West. That's what it's all about. Enjoy yourself, because we're going to be burning those calories off. We're going to walk over to Duval Street. It's only a couple of blocks. And if there's one place that captures the essence of this vibrant island, it is Duval Street. It's the heart and soul of Key West, where the party never stops and the memories are made. As you stroll down Duval, you'll be greeted by a kaleidoscope of pastel-colored buildings, each with its own unique charm. Quirky boutiques, souvenir shops, art galleries, and look at this. Look at this. You know that I love me some pink flamingos. Some of my favorite tattoos on my body are pink flamingos wearing sunglasses. Whoa, smoking cigars. Now, hold on a second. This might have to come home with me. I have no idea where I would wear it, but I guarantee I would find an occasion. What do you think of the pink flamingos? Leave a comment below. Plenty of t-shirts and sunglasses. Panama hats are really big here. Working harder than. Love Key West. But the main ingredient that gives Duval Street its legendary reputation is the nightlife. When the sun sets around here, this street comes alive. Whether you're looking for high-energy dance clubs or laid-back beach joints, drag clubs, Duval Street has it all. And many people don't realize that Key West was once the largest producer of Cuban cigars. That was the case until a devastating fire spread through the town while the island's only fire truck was over 1,000 miles away getting repaired. Cigar making here dates back to the 1830s, and as you can see, pretty potent stogies. Make you feel 3 inches taller, make you think like a millionaire. Yeah, bars big and bars small. Here's the smallest bar on Duval Street, probably the smallest bar in Key West. No dance floor here, sorry folks. The Red Garter Saloon, right in the middle of Duval Street, is not only a gentleman's club, but look, ladies, they also take your needs into consideration if you want to get a little shopping done. Something new around every corner. This is the historic district where you'll find a wide variety of architectural designs on the private homes, from elegant Victorian mansions with white picket fences right off a postcard to beach bungalows proudly displaying that Conch Republic flag. You'll see that a lot around here. It's sort of a tongue-in-cheek display of the island's sovereign state of mind. I guess you could call it a sarcastic declaration of succession from the mainland, which dates back to April of 1982. And it stuck. Conch shells are big business here on the island. Here in the Florida Keys, there are a few things that the locals take very, very seriously. The seafood, some of the best around. The sunshine, of course, can't live without it. And key lime pie. But believe me when I tell you, my friend, good key lime pie goes much further than key lime juice, the condensed milk, which is an important ingredient, and the egg yolks. Oh, goes much further than all that. Just about every family here in the Florida Keys has its own recipe for key lime pie. Every restaurant serves it on the menu, and it's been that way since the 1850s. Key lime trees first arrived in the Florida Keys in the 1500s, thanks to the Spanish, and now we enjoy key lime hot tea, key lime candy, key lime gumballs, even key lime lip balm. But the question remains, how do you like your key lime pie? Do you enjoy a meringue topping or a whipped cream topping? Are you a graham cracker crust or a pastry crust person? Cigars. Well, personally, I'm a meringue topping with the graham cracker crust kind of guy. And to be honest with you, in my 50 plus years on this planet, this is about as close to heaven as I've ever been. Just one bite and you'll see why key lime pie is the official state pie of Florida. And lest you ever question my devotion to this tangy treat, well, I invite you to view my latest tattoo. Yes, sir. Now, I invite you to join me for a tour of the Hemingway House. Wow. This is the former residence of the legendary Pulitzer Prize-winning writer Ernest Hemingway, who is known as much for his adventurous life as he is for his distinctive writing style. Greatly influenced American literature in the 20th century. Books like The Old Man and the Sea, For Whom the Bell Tolls. And yes, there are plenty of kitties here at the Hemingway House. Hemingway had a thing for six-toed cats. And the story is that a ship captain gifted him a polydactyl cat. That's the term for cats with six toes. And he named the cat Snowball. Today here's a nice shot of the kitchen. There are about 54 cats. Here's one that roam freely. Most are descendants of Snowball. And the cats are considered good luck, cared for very well by the Hemingway House staff. The majority of his writing revolves around themes like love and war and adventure. And they came, when I say they, he and his wife at the time, Pauline, came to Key West for the first time in 1928. They didn't move here permanently until 1931. And Pauline's uncle was gifting them a car, and the delivery of the car was delayed. So while he was waiting, Ernest Hemingway explored the city and fell in love with it, and they eventually made it their home in 1931. More than likely, it was his passion for deep sea fishing that made him want to stay here permanently. Climb this very narrow staircase here, and I want to show you Hemingway's bedroom. A couple more of the cats. Let's see if we can get close. Count those toes, 6 of them. And again, the term for that is polydactyl. These cats don't get worked up over too much, do they? Here's the bathroom, and this was the first private home on the island to have indoor plumbing. You can see visitors touring the home out there on the surround patio. I'll show that to you. It'll give you a great view of the lush garden filled with that tropical plant life. And just around here in this side yard area, Ernest Hemingway would set up a boxing ring and hold tournaments in his yard. He loved boxing. He and Pauline, they didn't move into this house until 1951, and they had 2 sons here. She would often get frustrated with him because he loved to go out drinking at Sloppy Joe's, where I'm going to take you shortly. And this is the old urinal from Sloppy Joe's. It's the cat drinking trough now. And the story goes that when there were rumors circulating that Sloppy Joe's was going to close, Sloppy Joe himself and Ernest carried this all the way up to the house, put it in the garden. Hemingway once said in an interview that when he was working on a book, he would begin writing as soon after first light as possible. And while he was here in Key West, this is where he did just that. If you're a fan of his work like I am, this is mind-blowing. This is where he finished his novel, To Have and Have Not. This is where he wrote For Whom the Bell Tolls. It was here and out on his fishing boat named the Pilar, or just Pilar, I should say, that he wrote The Old Man and the Sea. Literary history happened right in this room. Man. Now, just below us is the pool. Funny story about this pool. It was constructed in 1938. It was the first in-ground pool here in Key West. And Pauline, who was Ernest's second wife, wanted to distract him from his wild ways, all of his traveling and carousing around. So she had this pool installed. And when he returned home from one of his trips, she told him it cost $20,000 to complete. The entire estate only cost $8,000. So Hemingway reacted by tossing this penny at her and saying, well, you might as well take my last cent. This is the actual penny that he tossed at Pauline. It wasn't long after September of 1939 that Ernest, then known by his nickname of Papa, told Pauline he was leaving her, and they were divorced in November of 1940. The gift shop holds just about every piece written by Ernest Hemingway, and he retained ownership of the estate until he took his own life in July of 1961. The Hemingway House is open every day, with walk-in visits available from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., no reservations required. I could spend all day in the Hemingway House, but I want to get down to Captain Tony's. It is hot. Grab a beer or two, and I was going to call an Uber, but then I realized how funny it is how much times have changed. When Ernest Hemingway would leave this house and go down to Captain Tony's, he obviously wouldn't take an Uber. And when he came back, he had 5, 6, 7, 8 cocktails in him. And he managed to walk it just fine, so I think I'll stroll, get some steps in. Hemingway would leave the house located at 907 Whitehead Street, walk down to Green Street to Captain Tony's. But at the time, this was the original Sloppy Joe's. It was owned by a flamboyant character named Joe Russell, who became known as Sloppy Joe. But in the 1950s, the ownership was transferred to Captain Tony Terracino. There he is. And what a character he was. A bootlegger, womanizer. Heck, he even became mayor of Key West at one point. And the bar has a lot of stories, including this tombstone here right in the middle of the pool room. Captain Tony owned the saloon until 1989, and when he sold it, there was a clause in the agreement that said he could drink for free here until he died. And he didn't pass away until 2008 at the age of 92. Now it's a cultural hub. It really is. This is a place where memories are made. I even came here on the day I got engaged. And there's a dollar bill here somewhere with my name on it. The bartender told me they estimate between $50,000 and $70,000 in singles plastered to these walls. The value of all the bras hanging from the ceiling probably isn't much less than that. Jimmy Buffett got his start on that stage. No one knew who he was, but Captain Tony loved his music and would pay him to play here in tequila. Here are the names of some of the regulars, past and present, and this is a hanging tree that once stood in the courtyard. Public executions took place right here. Great photo op. He was such a great storyteller, the sidewalk mayor of Key West for decades. But in 1989, it became official. He became the real mayor of the city, and his campaign manager was none other than Jimmy Buffett. He was mayor for 2 years. I carry a piece of the saloon with me wherever I go, and now I want to leave a little piece of myself behind. One of our Tattooed Traveler stickers proudly displayed on the wall. I'm going to raise a toast to the history, culture, and camaraderie of Key West, and of course, to the spirit of Captain Tony. Here's to you. Now, before our visit to Blue Heaven comes to an end here, I feel it's my duty as your pal and as the Tattooed Traveler to introduce you to one of the most beautiful sunsets you'll ever see. You can check it out here at Mallory Square at the end of Duval Street, or my choice is to head out to Fort Zachary Taylor Park. I just like to be a little closer to the water, you know? Most travel aficionados would agree that adding watching a sunset in Key West to your itinerary is a must. And you'll get a clear view of a stunning sunset just about every night here on the island. You'd really be hard-pressed to find a more romantic setting. Hundreds of people get engaged here every year. There are about 3,600 weddings in Key West annually. And if you're considering it, the fee for a marriage license is only $93.50. There is a 3-day waiting period for Florida residents, but if you reside in any other state, no waiting period at all. Just passing along the information. Man, oh man, you just gotta love nature. And as the sky begins to darken here in this tropical paradise, I think it's easy to see why Key West is known around the world as home of the sunset.
You know, we started our Key West adventure at the beginning of mile marker 0, or Route 1, I should say. Seems like this is a fitting place to wrap it all up. I'm so glad you were here for it. I'm gonna put links to all of the sites and places we visited down in the description, so I hope you check those out. I hope you will like this video, subscribe to the channel, tell all your friends about it, let them know how beautiful Key West is. I'm Todd Newton. We'll see you again a little further down the road. Until then, travel safely.